I want to thank you and welcome you to the launch of Independence 36. I know today is the 4th of February and independence is 18 days, not independent. Independence date is 18 days away. I know some in the media will use the usual, why so close to independence we have in this launch when some of the activities for celebrating Independence 36 have already commenced. I'm not going to apologize for it. I'm just going to tell you, you already know, and for the last couple of years I've been saying, we know the date of independence. So the launch date itself should not matter, okay? It is that we should have been planning for the activities, and I want to give you the assurance we have been planning for the activities, and we do have an exciting program. The challenge for you that plays the press, in fact, I won't even call it a challenge. My solicitation to you, the press, is for you to become bigger, better partners in the promotion and celebration of independence celebrations. This year, we have listened even more closely to the criticisms of previous years. And I guess some things take a little time for it to seep in and percolate and for everyone to accept what the efforts that we are making. Certainly over the last 3 years, we have been promoting the notion of decentralization of independence celebrations. We do note that every community over the last how many years have tried to organize their own independence celebrations. And these have, whilst I'm trying to be selective in my words, have been rather diluted or rather muted in terms of the impact of those celebrations. Hence, we've tried to take a slightly different approach to make independence more focused and certainly more inclusive. Last year, for Independence 35, which was a milestone year, I think we did achieve and hit some critical marks that I think people, by and large, were satisfied with. For some of us who were involved in the organization of the celebrations, we do know that there's still some challenges that we have to get over. And there still will be, even with Independence 36. So I'm not afraid to, from onset, acknowledge that there will be some elements in the celebration that some persons may find some issues with. But we are always going to be listening to them and try to constantly improve on those areas. But also what we want to do with Independence 36 and with every independence celebration is to raise the bar, raise the level at which we celebrate and establish a particular standard for celebrating national events. After all, independence is the country's birthday. And as individuals, on our birthday, at least most of us, except when we're really getting on in age when we're trying to downplay it, we try to, in the main, make a fuss. And so that's what we want to do likewise with independence. Make up, I say a fuss, but a good fuss, not trite issue. Independence is more than just the fact of a flag or the fact that we can vote at certain institutions. These are very important elements of independence. But independence is also about our sense of determination, our sense of self. And what better way can we celebrate and showcase that self but through the list of activities that we have put together for Independence 36. We've said that we've had political independence, but some will still query the extent to which we have had economic independence. And so some of the activities that we are, or at least let me put it, the theme or the thread that we're trying to tie all the activities with is towards that kind of empowerment, so that there is a sense of economic growth and economic activity there is the elements, or there are the elements that will lead to that. The discipline that will be required, the challenge, the perseverance, the stick-to-itness that is certainly required for, true independence. So, I didn't want to just go through the list of activities because we have so many persons who are involved and who's going to make these things successful. And so I do have a whole team, and I want you to know that we have been putting in quite a bit of thought and effort into the planning of Independence 36. We will have, I don't want to say the usual, because the usual makes it seem so blah and, passé. But we do have sports. We do have intellectual stimulation. We do have culinary experiences for you. We do have, I guess, if you want to say the politics, because it is about that. But we also want to have and introduce a new level of introspection and reflection. So I will not, during even what we're going to do here this morning, share with you all of the details, because some things you will have to experience over the next month, because we do have a few surprises for you, and we certainly will not want to spoil that surprise, because independence is as much experiential. You have to feel, you have to be independent. And so it is through the activities, through your participation or our participation in these activities, we can truly feel, that sense of spirit, that sense of pride that we want to engender. I know the major part will be on Independence Day. At least, let me back up. This year, Independence falls on a Sunday. The Monday will be a holiday. So which means we have a long Independence weekend. And one of the things St. Lucians are certainly known for, sometimes not always in a good way, is that we like to celebrate. Now, sometimes people want to downplay that, and sometimes I take a slightly different view of wanting to accentuate our culture and promote the things that are unique about ourselves, so that we're not ashamed of it. I mean, we have to obviously channel it and use it properly, but we have a long Independence weekend, which is a time for us to truly go out and have fun. Be St. Lucians. Now, I see somebody from Distillers there. I think she's still with Distillers. Right? I mean, I'm not saying, you're no longer with the Distillers. I'm not trying to promote the St. Lucian spirit in that way, but but I want the St. Lucian spirit to be on display. And over the weekend, through that Friday through the Monday, we will have a series of activities for you to take part in. And I say for you, meaning from old to young, or young to old. There will be something for everyone. You have to be able to find your spot in not just in the activities, but in St. Lucia. And that's why we've tried to create those spaces for you. The communities throughout the island are already arranging for their own celebrations. But as we say, we want to bring focus. And this year, focus will shift to the south of the island. Last year, we tried to create an independent city in Beauséjour. For Independence 36, we're shifting the attention to the south of the island. We've said we want to almost tip the island, because we want everyone from the north, or at least as many people from the north, to go down to the south and enjoy the other side of St. Lucia. I keep saying Castries is not further from Vieux Fort than Vieux Fort is from Castries. So northerners, we should be able to make the trek to the south and give them the sense of, that they are part of. So, what do we have in store for you for that weekend? As I said, we have food, we have sports, we have discipline in terms of the police forces, we have debates, for the young persons. We have, I think I have enough persons here who I will call on to somewhat highlight some of the programs. I will not run through them, but I will perhaps start off with Mr. Philip Sidney from the Ministry of Agriculture to try to showcase, to highlight what we're doing with our agricultural development and why those elements that are on the program are so critical to St. Lucia's, not just independence, well, St. Lucia's independence in the broader sense of both political and economic advancement. Sidney?
First off, I just want to thank the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Food Production, Fisheries, Cooperatives, and Rural Development for making me the nominee on the Standing Committee of Independence last year, 2014. I also want to thank the chairman and his committee for nominating me on the Production and Logistics Committees for last year, where we, by my evaluation, was one of the best independence we ever had in St. Lucia. Not because I participated, but overall, it was the best coming from a number of persons evaluating the program. And as the CAPSEC said, that this year we would like to decentralize the activity, and we would like to replicate what we did at Beauséjour at the Philip Nasner ground to make it again independent city. At Beauséjour, we had a seafood festival that went very, very well. In conjunction with the Ministry of Agriculture, the marketing unit had their own booth. And of course, we have a brand in the ministry, what we call Eat Fresh St. Lucia's Best. And that is a holistic approach to ensuring St. Lucia eats what is produced locally. What is produced by the farmer, what is produced by you in your backyard. And that, they highlighted the use of cassava, the use of kale, the use of the lionfish, and that went very, very well up at Beauséjour. So in VF4, we are going to be doing a similar thing with additions. We are still going to do the seafood festival and in a bigger way because VF4 lend itself because over the years they have been a fishing town, and they are well poised to having fish landings, and of course the vendors in VF4 who are so creative in the seafood preparation. So we agreed to go ahead with that in VF4, and VF4 itself also lends itself to the livestock development of St. Lucia. We have the Beauséjour Livestock Station, and the number of farmers who are into livestock production. We have the Beauséjour Livestock Station that produces enough piglets and whatever it is for the farmers to get into their own production. So we felt we need to incorporate the meat aspect into the independence celebration. So we were hoping to have it separate, but we decided to join the two together. So there's a meat and seafood melee, festival, fiesta, whatever you call it. Like my good friend Hunt, behind my back, you'll see all the names. He give it all the names, so you will see them emanating from the back. But on the Saturday, we are hoping to have VF4 on fire with that meat and the seafood melee on the promenade, which starts at 10 o'clock. At 12 o'clock, sorry, in the afternoon, and that would take you through to the evening, maybe 1, 2 in the morning. Of course, that will be driven by entertainment, which Mr. Hunt will probably enlighten you on as we go ahead. We have already spoken to the vendors. They have been apprised. We have chosen the cream of the crop, but because don't forget, there was a Swire VF4, and which some vendors were selected, they were trained, and we're expecting that level of output from them, the cuisine, the whole preparation, the booths, and the whole attire. We have had, they were well sensitized with the medical people, the fire department, so they are well trained. We do not want to leave out the other vendors. Yes, we have our core vendors, but We know we're going to have the three people, and those are the persons. We want them to commit. We want them to be part and parcel of that economic space, to take part of and parcel of this whole thing, to participate. So we have looked at a section for them where they are going to be there. So they, in the little way, like we did last year at Boseju, persons from Marsha and all, they came and they were well satisfied. We gave them a spot, and that they went with. So that formula is going to be maintained in V4 on the promenade on the Saturday. The Sunday, the big day, we have our Independence Food Fair, which will be held on the Philip Marsler ground, which starts at 10 o'clock. And that, of course, will be featuring local cuisines together with other communities, like the Africans, the Indians, etc. It's like an international food fair, but it's an independence food fair. So that will be held on the Philip Marsler ground, okay? And the promenade will not be lost because we still want the spillovers, we still want persons to be there. It's like a part two of what we had on the Saturday, because we do not want food to run out. The formula of food fairs, by the time you're 1 hour into your food fair, food is finished. We don't want that to happen because we want food to go until maybe midnight. You've all the concerts that are, going to be held there. And of course, we go straight into the Monday, the holiday, where there are going to be a number of activities, and of course, food will be there. Again, the Ministry of Agriculture is going to be present, again highlighting a number of local dishes. They are going to be very, very prominent. That booth, again, will be the Eat Fresh St. Lucia Best booth. And we're hoping that, that the marketing unit of the ministry is going to, again, highlight our locally produced stuff. Again, highlighting the kale, highlighting the sweet cassava, which a lot of you probably are not using, and I think it is wise for you to do that for health reasons, etc. We can produce it, and there'll be more money in the farmers' pockets. So they're going to be there in grand style, and I will not tell you what they're going to do. They will surprise you, like Capsec say. We need some surprises. The 4ASO agro-processing unit are going to be there for our local juices, and of course our Glococo is going to be present in that same booth, together with marketing board with the fruit plates and fruit salads. So that's going to be a big event in V4. And of course, we are hoping that people will come down in drones and to eat and to sample what is being produced. I think that's all for now, until if you have any more questions, I could be able to answer down the road. Thank you very much, Mr.
Every year, we've gone through this, trying to find a theme that will resonate and that people will remember. I did place a call from August inviting people to submit themes. And we certainly did not receive as many as we thought, could come from the public. But also over the years, we felt that some persons, at least some, have lamented the themes are too long or soon enough forgotten. So in some ways, after all of the activities were being put together, we were trying to find what would tie them together. And certainly one of the things that we noted was that all of the themes are, in a sense, to be continued. So whether it is uniting the country, whether it is transforming the world, whatever it is that we have chosen over the years, none of them can truly be completed within a single year. And so we try to, again, see what would allow us to have a theme, what sort of theme we could choose that would all the activities would fit neatly into. Certainly one of the activities that we are putting on this year's calendar is the Independence Challenge. And that challenge is a walk around the nation, an 88-mile challenge. It is truly an arduous, well, potentially, I shouldn't say arduous, because that might scare some persons, but it's truly a challenge. It is truly a long journey around the country. And I think this is what we wanted the themes to be able to when we chose the theme, that it could capture all of the activities. And that's why we chose the theme for this year celebration as the journey. Because it could be the journey to self. It could be the journey to anything. The journey from Castries to Vieux Fort, from the journey around the island, the journey to wherever it is that we want to. The journey allows us to look back, look at the present, and also to look forward. So all of the activities that we are going to be celebrating, or we have on the calendar, is taking us along a particular path, a path towards development, however we have defined. And one of those activities, and I certainly want to call on and truly want to encourage and promote it, is that particular challenge, that walk around. This particular activity I find very important for so many different reasons, because it will require some grit, some determination to be able to complete. And this is exactly what is required for national development. Lots of us have some notions of some quick fix, some politicians, some government, some business place just do something and everything will work. We know it does not quite work that way. But each of us can play our own little part in pushing it. And that is really where the challenge is. That is really what the journey is about. And so I want to invite, I'm not certain whether it is John, Michelle, to come and speak to us about that particular challenge and why it's so exciting and why we would want St. Lucians to participate in it.
It is my honor and pleasure to speak on the activity that we believe is a fundamental aspect, as CABSEC said, towards national development. Some 2 years ago, we conceptualized the idea, and in many ways, that concept came from my brother John, that we could challenge ourselves by walking around St. Lucia, using the existing main road. It was done 2 years ago. There were about 35 or 36 starters, and 4 persons completed it. Last year, we had an increase in numbers of 86 starters, and somewhere between 9 or 10 persons completed it. We are happy that this year, the Independence Committee agreed to include the walk, because on both occasions, we had it on the 21st, completed on the 22nd. And we are excited that the Independence Committee have recognized that this activity is one they wish to encourage. The walk is not going to be in any form or fashion a race. It is an attempt to group persons who understand that it is better for a country to prevent illness than to cure illness. So we are encouraging St. Lucians to walk. And the Independence Walk is really a challenge to oneself. The walk starts in Castries, at Cul-de-Sac. The Super J supermarket is our starting point, and the reason for this also is they are also one of the sponsors of that walk. And it takes the route of Anselray, Canaries, Soufrière, Choiseul, Labrie, Vieux Fort, Micoud, Dennery, back to Castries. It is expected to be completed by some of the more seasoned walkers in some 20 to 22 hours. We expect that this year, because the numbers of registration have grown, and a lot of the persons who have walked and didn't complete it last year believe that they will complete it this year. We are anticipating some 150 persons to start. We hope we get more than that. We believe easily a third of them will complete it. The mission of some of those persons who completed it once or twice is that we will encourage the group of people to group together and move together, so that persons with the experience of having completed the distance will encourage their brothers and sisters to finish. But one of the more fundamental aspects of the walk is that persons are encouraged to challenge themselves to a specific point in the 88-mile route. So, for example, you might believe very strongly that you cannot walk 88 miles on a continuous basis, but you can certainly walk from Castries to Canaries. We encourage you to come. You may decide that your challenge is Soufrière. We encourage you to come. You may decide that you're from Vieux Fort, and that is where the fiesta will be, so you may start in Castries and remain in Vieux Fort. In fact, we suspect that the Vieux Fort may be a point for a lot of persons to end their challenge. There's a bit of a laugh coming out of my side of things, because year before last, I was supposedly, according to my brothers, I collapsed in Vieux Fort. That's just a joke, because they know better. So we believe that this activity is a very important one in the spirit of self-development. We thank the committee for putting it on the calendar of activities, and we are urgent solutions. Do not be afraid. 88 miles may sound like a lot, but it can be very enjoyable. Thanks to the committee, I want to say that we have, and our sponsors, we are putting together a series of protective devices. We will have the police to escort us. We have already got approval for that. We will have at least something like 6 police officers that will be following the walkers. We have engaged or contracted a physiotherapist. In fact, there are 2 of them that will be on the full journey for the entire time of the walk. We have also engaged or contracted 2 doctors to follow us. So, and through them, the health facilities will be contacted should there be any problems. We've also got the permission from the Commissioner of Police and the fire chief to alert the police stations that, and they did that last year for us as well, so that the police stations will be used for persons who over 24 hours need to keep their body functioning properly. So the police stations, the police officers last year were very, very nice. They were very welcoming, and we expect the same thing to happen this year. All starters, there is no fee for registration. Persons are asked to contact a particular number, 485-7866, and give their names, and also to give an indication of the point at which one is challenging themselves. There will be, we expect the walk, finally, I would like to say that we expect the walk to start on Saturday the 21st at 4 p.m. and we will walk for 20, 21, 25, 27, 29, 30 hours and finish somewhere on the boulevard on the 22nd of February. Ladies and gentlemen, with that, I say thank you for listening to me.
Again, critical to this set of challenges, I mean, we've heard Costello, Cossi, Michelle, is the role of the police, the role of our security forces in all of our independence celebrations. Because it's obviously no easy challenge to be able to do that and to coordinate through the night. So people need to feel safe and secure. And we do have our police as part of our committee to ensure that independence activities are conducted in a safe and secure manner. But more than just the safety, is also the fact of the police and what the discipline that they too have to go through. I mean, the drills, the precision drills, and all of those little elements. People, believe me, the activities that are on the calendar are not accidental. They're not random. They all have their purpose and their place in national development. And I want to invite Inspector O'Brien to come and give us some things on both the traffic management plan for independence celebrations, as well as to tell us something on the military parade that is slated for the Sunday, the 22nd.
I'm Superintendent O'Brien from the RSLPF, and I have the responsibility of coordinating the Independence Parade and also the activity that will be taking place in the South. Let me first speak on the parade. It is the annual parade that we participate in yearly, and there are certain times we have some of the organized groups not participating, but this year we are hoping that all those groups such as our Girl Guides, our Pathfinders, will find a place and will participate in the Independence Parade 36. It starts at 9 a.m. in the morning, and we have about 5 to 6 platoons, which is the armed platoons that will be on parade. We have 2 what we call black and white, that is male police officers, that's the 2 first platoons. Then you have the female platoon, which will be carrying a different type of weapon, and the drill will be slightly different. Then you have the Special Services Unit and also the Marine Unit. Then our next armed platoon will be the Cadet Corps. The foreign platoon that will be joining us this year will be the French, and they will also be participating. We have a detachment from the French that will be part of our independence celebration, and they will be participating. And as soon as they are through with the parade, we are taking them down to Vieux Fort to participate in or to enjoy what the South have to offer with reference to the celebration. Police-wise, after the parade, policing-wise in the South, the plan is being put in place right now. It has been finalized as to the numbers for each activity. We have the Special Services Unit in the South, along with the entire Southern Division officers that will be policing all the activities in the South. With reference, or if I might say, coming from the Commissioner's office, you have asked me to just ask that persons traversing from north to south be cautious on the road, and we will have a heightened police presence on those days of the activities down in the South. We're expecting to have a few checks on the road so persons know that the police is out there so that they drive carefully. We know persons will be enjoying themselves. We encourage persons to enjoy themselves, but would like them to be cautious. We would like to particularly mention the obstruction which was caused by the trough after the Deriso Gap. We have seen a number of accidents, or increased number of accidents happening specifically or especially from the Vieux Fort end coming up towards Castries. The signs are there, but persons tend to forget that there is that obstruction in the road, and they have to slow down when they get to that area where the road is cut off. What we intend to do as the police department is to put additional cones, apart from the signage which is already erected, put additional cones so that persons will know, hey, there is something that we have to slow down. So we are urging individuals that you go down, enjoy yourself, try your best not to drink and drive, and have a designated driver. I thank you.
I should also mention that, thank you, Superintendent O'Brien. There will be activities in Labrie likewise. So it's not just Vieux Fort, but it's the south of the island. Because really we want to make independence about all of St. Lucia. So in Labrie you will have some youth concerts. So on that weekend, on that Independence weekend, we want to encourage St. Lucians to go and do a staycation. Go down in the south, spend the weekend down there. So those who want to do the challenge, you know, you have a place booked up already. So if you can't make it from Castries to Vieux Fort, you know, if you stop off in Vieux Fort, you have somewhere you could, you know, sleep and stay back for the Sunday and the Monday's enjoyment. A major part of the celebrations will be the sporting calendar. Because as I said, we want to be able to reflect, but we also want to reflect on the past, but we also want to celebrate the present. We want to be able to recognize those who have made a contribution and who continue to make a contribution to national development. One of those areas is the sporting calendar, because we spoke to the work and its importance for health, but sports is also an important part of that. So it's not just casual, you know, for the casual sake, but even for the competitive nature of sports and what that can do to national development. And on that Independence weekend, or during the month of February, where we're celebrating independence, we want to be able to recognize the athletes, but also to encourage more persons to participate in sporting activities. And so we do have some activities, some sporting activities during that week, and I invite Ms. Monty Lewis from Ministry of Youth and Sports to share with us some of those sporting activities for that week period.
So from the Ministry of Youth Development and Sports, we will host the 35th Annual Sports Awards on the 13th of February at Sandals Beach Resort and Spa. As per usual, we will be honoring athletes throughout the year for their competitive nature and their winning. We have winning teams, and we've gotten over 34 nominations for Sportswoman and Sportsman of the Year. The ministry has selected their shortlist, and we have 11 persons vying for that title, which is one of our most prestigious awards. Through the other awards, we can find the Posthumous Award, Community Service Awards, Special Awards. So it's really a night to celebrate athletics in St. Lucia, and we really encourage the public to tune in to NTN to view the awards. It will also be very interactive because we're hoping to have some texting on the night, so you could select your favorite performance for the year. So you could look out for that on the sporting calendar. Also going on for independence activities, the St. Lucia Netball Association is hosting an independence tournament, which began on January 31st. The Division 1 finals will be in Vieux Fort, and it will be held on the 22nd of February. As per usual, we will have the Independence Athletics Invitationals at the George Odlum Stadium from the 16th and the 17th, and again, the public is invited to attend. On the 21st and the 23rd, there will be a bike and cycling festival. So we encourage father-son teams, mother-daughter teams, everyone to come out of their bikes and to just engage in a fun time with their families. There will also be a motocross exhibition and competition in Vieux Fort, beach volleyball on the Independence weekend. So really we have a packed schedule for that weekend. So you could really find basically anything for those of us who are so athletically inclined to take part in. And the ministry and the Independence Committee is looking forward to the full support of St. Lucians for Independence 36. Thank you.
During the independence celebrations, we also want to recognize that they have, as I've said, they have lots of St. Lucians who have made their contributions. And we have not been, maybe that's one of my own lamentations, a culture that says thank you well enough. We have not necessarily recognized those who have made their contributions. And whilst the Sports Awards is a step in that direction, once persons have, essentially left the stage, we tend to forget them. And yet it is on their shoulders many of us have stood so that we could see ahead. This year, we're trying to change this. We want to launch, at least with the CDF, a Leaders of Ayanola project, where we want to recognize, or where we will be recognizing, all of those St. Lucians from the different facets who have made contributions. I mean, right now, more than 50% of the population is below age 36. So many of them were not even born when some of those persons were, you know, as they say, in the trenches making their contributions. And so many of them may not have even known the contributions of some of those persons. They may have seen them on the streets and, you know, and we kind of, not necessarily snare, but we certainly don't pay them the due reverence or respect that some of them do deserve. And so this is one of the things that will certainly be on the calendar this year, and that will remain a feature, so that every year we will choose a St. Lucian. Now, we might just say that's not sufficient to choose one, but certainly with the CDF, we will be selecting St. Lucians for due recognition. And this year, one of those, so separate from the leaders, or maybe as part of the Leaders of Ayanola project, is to also recognize those cultural icons who have made their own mark. This year, we will be doing Charles Kadee. We will be recognizing Charles Kadee. And this will be on the 28th of February at the National Cultural Center. So again, I want to encourage St. Lucians to come out. We cannot be lamenting and saying of cultural penetration or having all of those things when we ourselves not recognizing those who have made their marks. We do need to correct that. An important part, I went through all of these things without saying, an important part of a nation is its own spirituality. And we're certainly not going to ignore that element in our celebrations. So I'll invite, though I'm not certain to what extent she's a pastor or priest or whatever it is, but I will invite Ms. Charmaine Gardner to do two things, to speak to us both of the spiritual side of our celebrations and also in terms of our business side, because these are the two elements two pillars essentially of national development, both the business, economic side and the spiritual side. So, Charmaine.
I'm going to tell you a few little things, and I would like initially to associate myself with the comments made by Sydney, who's on our committee, about last year being one of the best years that we have had. Tremendous participation, fairly island-wide, a lot of activities attended, particularly the Beau Séjour activities. People enjoyed that. We hope to replicate that again, as you have heard, in the South. We are, on the committee, we've looked at a number of issues. I represent the private sector, Chamber of Commerce on the committee, have done so for a number of years. We want to start this year, amongst all the things, we always need to start with prayer. It is said that more things are wrought by prayer than this world dreams of. And it is a fact that this nation is in need of some prayers, many prayers. So on Thursday, the 19th of February, we are encouraging persons to have a national day of prayer. You don't have to sit and pray all day, but wherever you work, whatever you are doing, you could be driving, just stop for a minute and pray for the nation. We will have on various and through various media houses, we will have all our pastors, our priests, our ministers saying prayers at various times, spots on some of our media, TV, electronic, print media. They will be interjecting prayers to the nation on that day. Stop, say a prayer, workplaces, have your staff pray at different times during the day. Just remind ourselves that we are a Christian nation, and Christian nations need to pray so that we can be the best that we can be. Secondly, on the 20th, that is a Friday, we will have, it's a staple item on our program every year, we will have our ecumenical service, which, because of the space and the size, we hold annually at the Minor Basilica of the Immaculate Conception in downtown Castries. So these are two prayerful things. The private sector's role in all of this is that we sponsor many of the events, we create levels of awareness, many specials and sales are held during that time. There's tremendous participation. A country is made up of many prongs and many facets, be it the private sector, the church, the state, the trade union movement, various sectors. We are but one prong, and we do play our role. We decorate. I was in some of the business houses this morning on my way up here. I stopped at 2, and they were putting out lovely yellow, blue, black. All the colors of the flag were going up. So there's decoration, and that creates the hype. It creates the levels of awareness. People must participate. We are on a journey, ladies and gentlemen. It started 36 years ago this year, 1979. All of us stood and shouted. For those of us who were born, we shouted, in 79, St. Lucia is mine. It's still ours, and the journey continues. The private sector, you just heard that Mega J, Super J are one of the sponsors. The Independence Lecture is sponsored by the private sector. Many things during this time are sponsored by the private sector. So we do play our role. We do encourage everybody, even if it's your own homes, your houses, put your lights, carry your flags, decorate, be part of the process, be part of that continuum, that journey. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
People, you've heard several speakers, but certainly we will not hear everybody speak on every issue that we have, because we do have, as you would have seen, a quite packed calendar of activities. We have, or we will have, a Best of St. Lucia concert at Pigeon Island, sponsored by Windward and Leeward Brewery, or at least Peter Bears. We will have a beach bash. We will have the Independence Lecture. We will have the National Youth Council debates. We will have, well, at least I think they were proposing to have a Hands Across St. Lucia debate. We will have cycling. We will have various exhibitions. So there'll be several things for you to come and see and participate in. I mean, I want to encourage, not just, I'm encouraging two things now. The media is present, so I'm putting out a challenge to you to promote all of the activities. And this is part of the reason why you heard from individual speakers. So you would have heard of individual activities as opposed to just simply doing a general summary. Well, the Independence calendar has 10 activities. So you now have enough activities that you could pull out and do a lot more on. Independence this year will be celebratory, as it was last year. It will showcase a lot of the talent. And I am so encouraged. I mean, in so many different ways. Last year I was at Beau Séjour and I was in a certain awe, seeing all the fashion, how persons decided to dress. And so the creative industries, how it has taken off from that side. But the creative industries is more than just the fashion. They have so many elements of that creative industry that we want and we're trying to showcase during Independence. The shows, the artists, I mean, the models. I mean, we have a Miss Independence challenge, not a challenge, a Miss Independence. But they also have, and in fact, which is part of why it has found itself on the calendar. Tell me, we've been too sexist in terms of just having a Miss Independence. There's an island hunk thing also. So we have beautiful women as well as, well, I guess beautiful men. Or handsome men, handsome men. See, sorry, you see, it's not my fault. I don't generally refer to men in any which way. So yes, handsome men. So there will be enough for us to see and love about ourselves, because we are beautiful people. We are. You know, and so we are beautiful people, we have handsome men, we have beautiful women, and so there is all of that for us to see. And I mean, especially when they're in all the fashion, you know, on those days, I certainly enjoy the fashion. A critical part of this, and I want to introduce Christopher to tell us a little more of the two big activities, the main, I say main draws. I don't want to call them main draws, lest people feel that Independence has become just the party. But certainly, and I'm saying that perhaps to the more conservative folk who generally like to be critical of certain things. In the past, Independence had been seen as only an official activity, only for officialdom, as some of us refer to it. But it's more than just the ministers and the officials. It's about celebrating ourselves, seeing ourselves in the best possible light, exposing our artists so that they too can go and market. But we have to support them. They're not just going to happen just like that. Some tunes, some songs grow on us. You know, so we sometimes have to hear it. Now, I know I saw one or two articles in the, you know, paper saying why we want to have a patriotic song contest or for most patriotic stations and stuff like that. We would simply, and we are simply trying to find ways for St. Lucians to embrace themselves, to love themselves. And I think once they start doing that, our own roles become less and less necessary. We could step back from this because it would have gathered its own momentum. And in some ways, I think this is already happening. Because from 2 years ago, I think I was, you know, I don't say I think we were making a call for St. Lucians to dress up in the colors. And what I've been seeing last year and even this year, or I say leading up, how many T-shirts with the flags already. I mean, to me, these are steps in the right direction. So I know we are moving in the right direction. So I want to encourage you and for you to ask for your support, really, and for you to trust and partner with us in promoting the best of St. Lucia. So one of those, in terms of that best of St. Lucia, in terms of the artists and creating avenues for our artists, who we always say starving, who are not doing enough, not getting enough exposure, is to invite Christopher to speak to some of those elements that are also on the Independence Program. Christopher?
On behalf of the Ministry of Tourism, Heritage, and Creative Industries, the Creative Industries portfolio is particularly excited to be once again collaborating with the Office of the Prime Minister and the Independence Committee. I know Corsi has left, but I would like to state that Mr. Sidney has indicated that he will be taking part in the Independence Challenge. So just letting you know, his designated route is from Big J's to Hess. So just want to let you know. I'd like to start off by thanking the private sector in terms of the sponsors, Peter Bear, St. Lucia Distillers, Tropical Fireworks, because even from last year they've been giving extra and added value, H2O Water, Super J, Digicel, Lime, Byron Foods, National Trust, Heritage, you name it, First National Bank, Bank of St. Lucia, everybody's collaborating. This is indeed a national effort. Now, the Independent City as a concept, and yes, I know as soon as we finish with the banner, we have to give it to the Minister for Infrastructure because that Independent City is his as far as he's concerned. But Independent City as a concept created through the Independence Committee, where we wanted to centralize independence activities, not so much to exclude people, but to sort of build that nuclear powerhouse which would spread throughout the island. We did it in the north last year in terms of Beauséjour, and I let the figures speak for themselves in the sense that for the first time for independence, all vendors sold out. That in and of itself from socioeconomic impact is a complete change in the paradigm. Since Carnival has been moved from January to July, now we have an opening batsman in terms of national festivals that can go out and have that socioeconomic impact. We also recognize that for the first time, in particular for the Ministry of Tourism statistics, we had over 400 visitors to our shores at Independence. It means that now we have a product where it's 100% St. Lucia. It's not jazz, it's not carnival, it's not fashion for foreigners. Yet the paradigm is now that tourists are coming to our Independence. And for the Ministry of Tourism, that is of particular significance. One of the major things that we are attaching to everything that the Creative Industries does is data collection, so that nobody can just say that we're doling out money, or the Office of the Prime Minister, or Ministry of Finance, or Creative Industries, but we are showing you the socioeconomic impact, how much money vendors are making, how much money service providers are making, how much money everybody will make, and what the impact is going to be on the economy, so that we know what even independence will contribute to the GDP. Now, we have a series of events, and the goal is to encompass the vision of the pre-party, the party, and the after-party venue. In other words, when we hold your hand, we want you to come through and stay all the way through all of these activities. So yes, Independence in a bold step is now not just the Independence Day, but the Independence Weekend, and really and truly an Independence Month. A set of activities where, when we started with the Patriot Radio competition, Most Patriotic, we are saying that, very simply, I like Marsha Montano's song. I love it, Remedy, it's nice. But every time that plays, money leaves the country. And hundreds of thousands of dollars will continue to leave the country if every DJ is focused and obsessed with making sure that they popularize Trinidad, when we ourselves could have our St. Lucian artists who are releasing music literally this week, even up to yesterday. St. Lucian artists were releasing music toward independence, toward the slam concert, toward performing original St. Lucian content. Now, we are starting off on the Saturday, and make no mistake, independence in terms of fetting, liming, having a good time, family fun, will be starting on Friday in terms of Vieux-Fort. They're doing their thing. But on Saturday, the promenade will come alive with the named event by Mr. Sidney of Magnificent Meats versus the Seafood Fiesta. This is a combination of the fact that you have a number of agriculturists, a number of farmers, a number of producers, both with regard to meat and seafood, that wanted to show what they can do and have some sort of fun with it. From 12 o'clock, we're going to be having entertainment right through. And when I say right through, I don't mean from 12 o'clock and then you're going to have to wait till 5 o'clock. We're not promoters. We don't need gates. There are no gate receipts here. So we are duty bound to make sure that we provide entertainment all the way through. In collaboration with the Vieux-Fort Council, the Town Council, we have entertainment pretty much every 15 minutes to every half hour, all the way from 12 all the way to midnight. You'll see acts, everybody from folk groups, you will see PI dancers, you'll see Miste Local, all the way through to Cupid, to Educator, Teddy John, DYP, all the way through. Then we have special J'ouvert. The traditional J'ouvert of Vieux-Fort goes all the way up to Kima Tribe. We move into the Independence Day, and on the Independence Day, we have a series of activities that start as early as 9 o'clock. The Independence Food Festival, where various cultures are going to be on display in terms of the culinary arts. And make no mistake, as proven by Nina Compton, it's not just cooking food, it is truly culinary arts. We also have Expo of St. Lucian goods. All of the things St. Lucian, whether it is a Wobduet, Madras, you name it, whether it is ceramics, whether it is visual arts, everything that is St. Lucian will be on display and available for sale. And we also, through the creative industries, are going to be procuring a certain amount of those things so that we can then put them in the foreign missions, so that the foreign missions have a greater representation of St. Lucian goods and services. And we also are using that as a testing ground for what we are going to be looking to include in the Jazz and Arts Festival. So we are continuing the economic legs for those St. Lucian producers, whether it is fashion, design, arts, crafts, you name it. From there, we go into the official ceremony. And as a new feature, you normally have film showcases. But for the first time, the Audiovisual Film Association is coming on board so that even during the activities on Independence Day, there will be film components. St. Lucian award-winning film producers are going to be showcasing as well. We're going to get to a point where we have, obviously, our virtuoso best of the best, people like Barbara Cadet, people like Boo Hinkson, Rob Zaid Taylor. You're going to have a number of artists, Elra Erme, Teddy St. John, you have also Irvin Ace Lochter, you have a number of St. Lucian artists, but the slam concert is about original St. Lucian content. Everything that you're going to hear at this year's Independence, like last year, is going to be an original St. Lucian song. And every time you catch yourself seeing a St. Lucian perform a song, you're going to literally go, there are still a lot of St. Lucians who don't know Burning Eyes and a Hungry Belly is a Boo Hinkson and a True Tone song. So when they hear it there, when they hear people like, whether it's Nicola Dorville or they hear Michael Robinson, they're going to have to recognize once and for all and get over that hurdle that yes, St. Lucians can do the same things that Michael Jackson, Michael Bolton, and people have been doing all over the world. Now from there, we go into the Jeté special presentation. These kids have been working literally every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, coming from all parts of the island, everywhere from Bass, Labrie, Vieux-Fort, Pierrot, coming all the way up to Castries, the Comprehensive and the Folk Research Center, to practice for a mass showcase. Never been done before. They are, like us, not interested in just making a successful entrance or debut, but they want to make history. Then we continue with the slam concert, and we go all the way through to the morning. Once again, we are not apologizing for this because we want the continuity of people being able to come to the South, stay in the South, and make sure that at any point that they come, there will be food, there will be refreshments, there will be entertainment, there will be dance, there will be music, there will be poetry, there will be film, there will be everything that we can think of and then some. I'm not going to let out all of the surprises, but the after party continues in the next day, on the Monday, Independence Monday, with the Beach Bash on Sandy Beach. Great opportunity to profit that, and I, for one, will be one of those who will be looking forward to the Maria Islet tour, where, in collaboration with the National Trust, for the first time, many of you can scratch off on your bucket list the opportunity to go over to Maria Islet, stand there, take a couple of photos, and say, yes, I did this. There'll also be, as we heard from sports, volleyball, football, horse racing, basketball, motocross, Moto X. I'm dizzy, I'm teary, happily with all of the things that are going to be going on. And yes, without apology, we want to capsize St. Lucia, like when you're looking at the movie Titanic and you see the top of the boat in the air. We want so many people to come down to Vieux Fort. Yes, if you can't get hotels, please try the mini hotels, the guest houses, and if worse comes to worse, stay with your auntie, Patsy, that you had a fight with and she didn't give you a Christmas present. Come down, stay down there, spend the weekend down there. And again, we're not just looking to make and observe independence. We're looking to make history. Thank you.
So people, you see, we have an exciting Independence weekend, but more than just a weekend. I don't want to just make it on the weekend, you know. We have an exciting Independence celebration for you. We have the Independence lecture. Yeah. We have the Independence lecture likewise scheduled for the 26th of February, and we will be having Mr. Cecil St. Jose, a St. Lucian banker from the Bank of New York. You know, I mean, we do have St. Lucians, I don't say little black boys. I'm using the term in a particular way because we have a notion as to where we came from. That, boy, we couldn't achieve. And we have, and we do. We need to be able to celebrate ourselves, and this is really what I want. That we have, I mean, when you think those Twin Peaks there, these were born on Grass Street. I mean, and we look at Grass Street now in a particular way. These are where we came from, and yet we can conquer the world. This is the point of all of this. That it doesn't matter where we came from. We have to believe in ourselves, and we can conquer the world, you know. And this is what we have to offer. And and the Independence lecture will be on managing entrepreneurial risk. Because we have a lot of talent that is out there, but sometimes we may not know and appreciate what needs to be done to take us to the next level. So we want to expose everyone. So there will be something for everyone. From the, if you want to say Stoosh to Kabawe to whoever to whatever levels, age don't matter. There's enough for all St. Lucians to come out and see and enjoy themselves. Let me take you to the ad. Let's see what it is that we have to offer.
St. Lucia, this Independence, February 22nd. Independence City takes over the South, calling all sons and daughters of St. Lucia. Independence Long Weekend in Vieux Fort, Philip Master Ground, Vieux Fort Promenade, Sandy Beach, the Independence Youth Rally, Seafood Fiesta, Expo of all St. Lucian products, Moto X Racing, Basketball Final, Football Final, Horse Racing, Maria Island Tour, Kite Surfing, Bicycle Racing, Independence Food Festival, Jante Special Presentation, the Slam Concert, the Independence Beach Party, Tropics Band, Kendall Hippolyte, Boo Hinkson, Educator, Miracle Dancers, Pantime, Masquerader, Cupid, Lintus, Barbara Cadet, Miss Day Local, Tabu Melee, Mongstar, A Special Juve, Elba Ome, Rob Zion the Vibe Tribe, Azai Hall, Hanko Hamanite, Tennyson John, DYP, Twisted, Scotty, Monty Maxwell, Michael Robinson, Herbla, The Invader, and more.
Love the land that gave us birth.
This year we're making history. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Independence Weekend.